All right, good morning, everybody. Just give me 1 second to make sure everything is going okay. All right, good morning. So we're just going to take a look at some setups. We're going to talk about cat yen trade that we was looking at yesterday. Yesterday in the Discord, I seen 3 setups that I was watching. All 3 of them hit. That was Aussie or Euro Aussie, CAD yen, and USD JPY. USD JPY is in the possible weekly support. It used to be weekly resistance, so we'll see what happens there. All these things are setting, all the yen pairs are setting right around their 50 on the RSI on the daily. So we're going to give them a minute to see what happens. On the intraday side of the USD JPY, it is set in a low of day. You can see once it opened yesterday, it had a nice move lower. All right, into the London Open, you have set a high. Now it isn't going to be the high of day because this thing opened all the way up here, and this candle marks the high of today's range. This couldn't possibly be the low of day. So basically, if you're looking for bearish continuation, you want to see this thing fail at 112.917. If it stops right there, then possibly you have a target of low of day, and it's 19 pips. It's had a pretty decent move in the last 4 days, 5 days, and it's been going pretty much straight down. So yeah, it's probably a safe bet to let this thing pull back or at least close on a green day. You can see the daily range on this, today's range, is about the same size as yesterday's range. So, I mean, is it possible that you have another massive move to the downside? Absolutely, right? Anything is possible. We are seeing a bit of dollar weakness today, but once again, on the DXY, you're coming into possible support, all right? This is a nice section of price. We had a breakout there above resistance, stab higher, taking out any stops resting above these 2 swing highs over here, and then a rejection with 3 days of continuation. So is our bullish bias on the dollar still remain? Well, it's getting less and less each day. I'll give you that much. Here you go, you're coming into the 50 on the RSI, so if it's going to find support, it could find it now. You're also into the daily 21 exponential moving average. So if we're going to see dollar strength, I expect it to start coming from here. So as far as checking the USD JPY for shorts, I'm probably not going to. I think yesterday was the trade on that asset, and today it's just, you're seeing a little bit of follow through. I guess watch hourly res. So let's go talk about CAD yen, because this was the best setup on the day. So when we're looking for trades, we're keeping in mind the overall trend, right? On this thing, it's been going straight up. But then you had a little bit of sideways, a couple weeks of sideways, and then you broke down below support, all right? This was yesterday's price action here. You can see that you're getting follow through this morning or today, but this was the day that the trade was taken. Notice how you've got daily support here, right? So this right there is going to be good enough to make people to start to look for bullish entries on the asset. Now, pay attention to yesterday's open, right? This is what we're going to be doing. Let's go here. All right, so when the trading day took off, this day was already set in stone, and we're into support. We're going to go out to the hourly. We got this craziness down here. Massive move to the upside. This is intraday price action. This set in yesterday's high. Not yesterday. When I say yesterday, I'm talking from yesterday's perspective looking back into Friday. All right. This is Friday's price action that I was gauging my entry from. So this is Friday's high. This is Friday's low. So we're going to play a little bit of this just to get it up into where I started to say, yo, this is where we're going to be watching for entries, right? So where is it going to be? Over there. All right, let me just... All right, so there's... No, this is your London Open still. Oh, damn it. Anyways, this is where I was wanting to look. Excuse my French. So basically, you've set this up, right? You've got hourly resistance, keeping in mind that this was Friday's open, okay? So this is Friday's open, this is Friday's high, Friday's low. So you traded up, created an hourly res. So we can take this line here, let's delete it and put a new one up, marking hourly resistance. All right, now I want you to look how flawless this entry is. Here is 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 a.m. This candle is 7 a.m. This is when I'm looking for my entries, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's it. After 10, I'm done trading FX. I look at crypto and stocks for the rest of the day. FX is done at 10, right? Because if I haven't gotten an entry by then, the move is already transpired, more than likely. So here you go. Also, I'm going to go back out to the daily, right? This is that high right there. Boom. This is hourly res, this line. This is your previous day's open, okay? This was the target. Low of day hadn't been taken out yet. I mean, it is now because I played too far into it, but you get what I'm trying to say. Never mind this stuff down here. Or let's just do it like this. This is the play. This is the trade, right? This move here. This is my entry, hourly res. It rejected yesterday's open. It didn't get a flawless test of yet Friday's open, but notice these wicks all lower than the open, also setting in an hourly resistance. Here is your first initial move of the morning. This is your London open candle. London open comes in, sets in a high, rolls over, boom, comes down, checks your hourly Heath level. This would be demand. If there were going to be buyers in this market, this is where you would be looking for bullish entries. If for some reason you thought this was going to roll over and continue higher, you did get a bounce from there, right? A beautiful bounce. This traded into that level and you got an instant bullish reaction. I was bearish. This had already, all this took place before I even sat down in this chair. So this is going on. I noticed this. I know that I got a bounce from down here. I also know that low is my target. So when this comes in and checks this daily Heath level or hourly Heath level of demand and trades away from it, this is going to bring more buyers into the market that are less, I guess you could say, that have less experience, right? Because this is a bullish reaction off that level. So on this pullback here, they're looking for bullish entries, but not me. I'm watching this. This is what I'm looking for. Entry was so flawless. I was only off by 2 pips. I could have had a 2 pip stop loss. Obviously, you can't do that. It's safe to have it, and I did go into the market with a 10 pip stop loss, aiming for low of day. I mean, it was so flawless. Trades right up into hourly res. Boom. And now that everybody's stuck long, you get this. Boom. Now, this is when I'm taking 2/3 of my position off and moving my stop to break even. This is just cherries on top of the cake. All right? You cannot worry about this. You cannot slap yourself or beat yourself up for ever taking an entry like this. Your target was executed. Your entry was flawless. Everything was beautiful and perfect about that trade. So why would you beat yourself up over what you could have had? If you start trying to enter these markets with looking at stuff like this, saying what I could have had, you're going to lose money. You got to take this with a systematic approach. Same entry, same everything all the time. Be consistent in your entries, in your stops, and in your profit targets. Then stuff like this will pay off with 2/3 of the position. If CAD Yen continues to run for days and days and days to the downside, that initial position or that 2/3 of the position that I took originally will dwarf in comparison to what this can pay off in days to come. All right? And that's what you have to look at. Also, by taking 2/3 of my position size off, I no longer have any risk on the table. My stop is break even. So it's flawless in it checks every box. Stop was mitigating my risk. Check. Hit my daily target. Check. Hit the daily gains. Check. Took profits. Check. Move stop. Check. Now I can move on and I don't even have to worry about what happens with CAD yen. Isn't that a great place to be? All right, so this is what I wanted to show you guys. It doesn't happen this beautiful and this flawless every single time. And when I took the entry, I had no idea if the trade was going to work. Okay? I never know if the trade is going to work. People all the time ask me, do I do this? Do I do that? It's like, look, I can teach you a system. When you actually take those entries is going to be up to you, because I will not ever be able to tell you if your trade is going to work or not. Just mitigate your risk. Make sure you have a specific target objective in mind, so that way when price gets there, you know that it is time for you to exit that position and get your risk off the table. That's the most important thing when trading. It's not how much money you make per trade. It's how much money are you risking if you're wrong, because you're going to be wrong, right? So that's it. That's CAD yen. Beautiful. USD JPY also hit targets, but it was not nearly as pretty as this one. I mean, and it's still going on into today. So there's a chance that we can see some more CAD weakness. I don't know if this, I would assume that this stuff is from yen strength. Right, we've been looking for yen strength. I still hold a pound yen short. All right, let's go look at this. This is where I am short from. This swing high right there. Let me look at the daily just to make sure. It's this daily wick. That is my entry where it says 2H. I was watching a 2-hour resistance level. So when price traded up into it, I took the short, put the stop above where my entry was. Obviously, when I hit targets, which would have been at that point in time low of day, I took 2/3 of my position size off and I moved my stop to break even, and I haven't looked back. Right? Haven't looked back. And this day right here was extraordinarily nice to that position. I'll just say that. Very, very, very nice to that position. Now I have a trailing stop setting above this daily swing high. Now, that's going to be obviously I'm going to lose about half of the unrealized P&L if it comes back up and stops me out there. But the initial position was already capitalized on. So it doesn't really matter. You're always going to lose unrealized P&L. It's impossible unless you just take profits every single time. But if you do that, you're going to miss out on any potential unrealized P&L. So this is just something that you will have to work in. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. All right. This is just something that you have to work into your own strategy, right? These are going to be personal preferences. Do I want to capitalize on most of the unrealized P&L, or do I want to let it run to see if it potentially turns into a year-making trade? Because it can, right? I caught all of this on a similar fashion, taking an intraday scalp, looking for a high a day, took profits, moved the stop to break even, and lo and behold, I captured 90% of this move right there. Those are dailies, by the way. That's a monstrosity of a move, like almost 1,000 pips. And I was riding in it with about the same size of a position that you would take a swing trade on, right? So there you go. That's what I'm sitting in here, and I still got now the CAD yen position that's riding. All the risk is off. All the risk is off the table. Now it's just potential unrealized P&L. So we will see how those two trades work out. But in my videos, if you're new to the channel, welcome, right? Most of the subscribers and people that follow me, especially the ones closest to me, my deepest supporters, those people understand that you're going to learn here. If you want to learn how to analyze price like a professional, then you need to pay attention to what I'm telling you. This stuff works day in and day out. Every single day, I'm doing stuff like this. Now, I'm not trading every single day, but I could potentially post a beautiful win almost every single day if I'm watching every market. But I don't do that because I don't want to put that pressure upon myself. When I first started the YouTube channel, I really had reservations about even doing it. First of all, I'm a smoker, right? I like to party, so that's that. I don't really like putting my personal life out there, but it was to teach CTM, and then it's basically grown from there because more people wanted to hear what I had to say. Just hit the subscribe button, check all my older videos. You will see from day one, I have been consistent in the way that I deliver technical analysis. It's the way that I trade every day. And in my opinion, it's the best thing you're going to find on the YouTube, period. All right. So we're going to look on a few other things real quick before we get to Bitcoin. Obviously, we're going to get to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trading at all-time highs, and we were looking for that. This weekend's video was everything worked out beautifully. So pound dollar had a nice, big, massive move last week. This is when the ECB came out and said that they were not going to do any kind of taper or anything. The market was expecting taper, right? We don't never know what the market's expecting, but we can tell what the market's expecting when we see moves. For instance, the S&P 500 was expecting taper. When taper was announced, the S&P 500 has been absolutely flying, right, to the upside. We were all expecting maybe some downside, and it was not what the market wanted. So this is what happens when the market gets when the market hears something it doesn't like. You get a massive move to the downside, and it did trade into daily support. Let's just get rid of all of them at once. Here's daily support, old daily support. This is your yearly swing low. All right, yearly swing low. You can go all the way back to January. Let's see here. This is Jan 08, and this is December. So this is your lowest low in January, right? This took it out. So this is your yearly low. This thing is trading close to its yearly lows. Big move off from that area. You're going to find possible resistance setting right there in the form of daily supply. Now, we don't know if it will. Obviously, if the DXY keeps going down, this will blast right through that demand. Okay, but there's your first area to start watching for possible resistance. All right, possible resistance right there. Go into the intraday charts. You can see that you got a nice big strong move. This right here sets in a range. This is to scout or to basically destroy intraday retail traders that don't know what they're looking for. They're getting long right in the middle of the range, and they're getting short right in the middle of the range. So these little wicks to the upside take you out of the trade almost every single time. And then this is what you get. Boom, move to the upside. So I wouldn't be looking to take any shorts right now. The order flow for the last few days is what? It's up, all right? It's bullish. So what we need to see before we can start looking back for shorts again is we need to see the pound dollar trade into that daily Heath level and find resistance there, and then struggle to get above it. Then you can start looking for shorts maybe tomorrow, not today, not in my opinion. All right. Obviously anything can happen, but I think that this trade ends up playing out more tomorrow. You'll probably get something like this, or you'll get a big move above it, and then you'll set in, put in your daily range, because your intraday range expansion has already occurred. So now it's time to finish off the day by trading back and forth in a sideways motion until the next Asian session open, and then so on the cycle goes. So just keep an eye on pound dollar, one spot 36119. Not looking for any positions just yet on it. I would like for it to roll over, obviously, because I'm short pound yen, and any pound weakness and any yen strength will only help that trade. But if it comes all the way back up and stops me, I don't care either, because I've already made money on it. Euro USD trading crazy the last few days. Been a lot of high risk news items out there as of late. But if you look out into a daily, you can see that you set in this low over here, and since you've had trouble getting back below that, right? Here it is. There's your support. there. Multiple attempts to get underneath that support. On this day, you even traded below the support, but then instantly you traded back out of there. Is this a potential short? Yes, it is, right? You're trading into daily resistance here. Now, the only time you will ever see me use any indicators at all will be moving averages, and only on the daily, and the RSI, and only on the daily, right? This shows me that the bears are in control of this asset. Now, that might sound silly to you because you can simply just look at the price and tell that the bears are in control of this asset. But some people have a hard time distinguishing between uptrends and downtrends. I'm not even joking. And since this channel is more or less around helping people learn how to trade, keep an eye on your RSI. That'll let you know who's in control, at least who has been in control, right? So basically, I guess what I would want to see is it's already checked the 50 and you sold off, but you're trading under it. So can this go up and hit the 50 and roll over? Yeah, it can. And that'll probably put you pretty close to this resistance or this one here. It's an old resistance and price has already traded through it, but it's still good. It can still be looked at as resistance because it blasted through and then your next day right back down. So there was no test of it. There was no bouncing around. There might be like a couple hours stutter steps in there on the intraday charts, but it just blasted through. I don't see it getting up there. I would probably more or less want to see it just take out all these swings here, these 4 days. If it wicks up above that, that will put that RSI right about the 50 spot. And you'll be a little bit above the 21. So, yeah, I mean, it's still structured to the bearish side. I would only be looking for bearish entries. Now, that can absolutely change, guys. It can change. This can be, I mean, we're so close to the end of the year now. This could be setting in or getting ready to set in a yearly low. If the dollar is going to weaken because the market likes taper, then you're going to probably see dollar weakness. All right? And it was funny, right? Bitcoin couldn't do anything when it was trading over here. Why? Well, if you remember, that's when the dollar was trying to break out to the upside. That puts pressure on Bitcoin. You opened the markets yesterday with a red dollar, right? DXY's red. Look what happens to Bitcoin. Boom. All-time highs, baby. Now, this pitchfork is the old pitchfork that we've been keeping an eye on. You can see that this median line held as support when it traded down into it. Absolutely perfection. Now, the support held, and the support was that bearish candle. I spoke about it in this weekend's update video. These 3 days closed inside of this bullish candle's range. Let me stretch out the charts for people on mobile. This bullish candle broke out above resistance. Resistance was here. There was also a descending trend line coming in there as well. So this breakout day was a legit breakout from daily res and from a daily trend line resistance. Found resistance at that pitchfork. Then you set in new resistance, and then for 3 days traded inside of this bullish candle's range, meaning you could not close the daily below it or above it. See that? How this range encompasses price. This was a stab down, found support. There you go. Boom. Closed inside this day again. This was going to be the potential place for entries. Looking for bullish entries. The problem is it didn't give any. All right? It did not give any. So let me see here. Let me do something like this because I want to pay attention to that open. Because once you closed above that open, you closed above your previous day's open, that is the signs of a potential reversal. Okay? So here is that wick down to the downside, testing that lower edge of the pitchfork. This is your open. This was the time to get long on Bitcoin, right in here. Now you could have taken this entry there, but it happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I wouldn't have caught it anyways. But that was the only entry I see since you closed above the previous day's open. It's very important to keep an eye on your previous day's opens because it can give you a little bit of insight into what's potentially about to occur on the daily range that you're trying to trade on. All right, but yeah, that was I didn't get an entry on Bitcoin, so it's running without me. It's all good. I have my long hodl position, but I still wanted to get into this with a long with 5x leverage, but I was asleep. So I could have taken entry potentially anytime here. It happens, right? That was during the weekend. Weekend trading can be choppy and uneventful, but it definitely was not uneventful. It was a breakout to the upside. Now you're above your old daily all-time high. Now, on the video that I did this Sunday for channel members and Patreons, is that if this were, I was looking for potential resistance here, because it already acted as resistance once. I said basically, if I get a breakout and a close above that level, I then want to see Bitcoin act extremely bullish. For the reason is if people are going to sell here and price is going to cut right through it, then chances are the shorts are going to get stuck, and then we're going to potentially see a short squeeze on Bitcoin, and short squeezes can last for days. Not only did we break out and close above daily supply, we also closed above daily resistance as well as your old all-time high. Here's an old all-time high check. Now we need to start seeing Bitcoin go off to the races. It needs to start just blasting through these numbers. Because as long as it sets up here and consolidates, it does not look like a legit breakout. So we've already had our 3 weeks of consolidation once we put in a new all-time high. I discussed this a little bit as well on the last Saturday's video. If you missed that, go check it out. But here is your 3 weeks of consolidation after putting in a new all-time high. So now that we're breaking out again, I want to see this thing start to run. I want to see it run fast. But we do know that Bitcoin can, when indeed it is making new all-time highs, we know that it can consolidate. Here's a new all-time high here. And then you had 3 weeks of consolidation before you finally broke back out above weekly res. And then you traded up to the upside for 3 solid weeks. That's what I want to see here. Right? Now, obviously, the weekly doesn't close until Sunday, but I can tell you one thing. It better close above last Sunday's close. If it doesn't, then I'm going to look for shorts. Simply because it just doesn't have the strength, which means there is no buyers above the old all-time high. But it looks fantastic. We got our weekly close Sunday was above weekly resistance, and it was above the highest week close ever in Bitcoin's history, right? I also talked about the monthly opening range, right? That if we're going to see a bullish month on Bitcoin, we want to see that initial move to the downside to set in your candles low, to set in your monthly opening range low, and then we want to see bullish continuation, that expansion to the upside. And we're getting it right now, right? Nothing to be concerned about. Everything is working exactly as expected. I'd say within the next few days to a week, Bitcoin's going to start ripping faces off. Okay? So if you're short Bitcoin, be very, very careful. You got a weekly close above the highest week ever in Bitcoin's history on April the 5th, 2021. There you are, baby. Higher close. Look at you go. This is bullish. This is what we want to see. So Bitcoin looks fantastic. There is not any entries now, right? There's no entries now. I mean, if you think Bitcoin's going to run, which I do, and you want to look for possible bullish entries, start around 67, around this hourly candle, and then look for potential resistance here or this very faint trend line from the pitchfork. That might be a good spot to look for entries. All right? But I wouldn't enter here. Right? That's not my style. I don't like buying breakouts. But some people do, and some people are very successful at it. Because if Bitcoin starts to do this short squeeze that I'm expecting, you're going to see a move like on Shiba and Mana and all these other crazy things that's been flying off the hinge. We know Bitcoin can do the same thing, especially if there's a lot of leveraged shorts in the market. So we will see what happens. All right, let's see what everybody has to say. Good morning, good mornings. Lots of them. Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the rants. New all-time high feels good, says Echo Echo. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I don't like shorting Bitcoin, but I will if I have to. But I particularly don't like to do it, especially in a bull market. Good morning, Jimenez. Hi, .USD, please. Thanks for everything. All right, let's go look at DOT. All right, let's get out of the intraday. Everybody's got their eyes on DOT to see if they can lock the float up. And it looks like the float's locked, or it's trying to be locked. There's your breakout above all-time high, and you're consolidating above it. It looks good. Is there potential entries? Yeah, because you're red on the day. So that's what we look for if we're looking for bullish entries. We want to see a pullback. It's not a very big pullback, and there's no daily levels to watch other than your previous day's open. So that's what I would start with first, right? Now let's go down into the intraday charts. We know this is our daily open. So for this asset to remain bullish, you do not want to see any hourly closes below this. If you start getting hourly closes below it, then it looks like the low of day is the target, and this is going to be your low of day, this wick. That doesn't mean that DOT's still not a buy. Absolutely not. It just means that it's going to be difficult to get positioned for a long, for a day trade, if it's attacking the daily low. You don't ever want to buy that because people are long here, okay? So if this asset trades back down to these lows and beyond, you're going to see a spike to the downside because of liquidations, all right? Impatient traders are long from this spot, guaranteed. So if price runs down in there, it's going to liquidate those folks. You could see a blast all the way down to 54, 50, 64, 66, something like that. But I don't see it happening, right? This is just sideways consolidation. Watch hourly res or potential support. Apologies, that's hourly support. Your lowest hourly close. There's your daily open. Here is your zone that you're looking for potential entries if you're bullish on DOT, right? Now, it's not going to be like a day trade. It would probably be more or less looking like you're wanting to see a massive range expansion over the next few days because the daily's red. Or it's, it's red. As a matter of fact, that's not the daily open? That can't be. Oh, it's the previous day's open. Gotcha. I had myself confused there. It's the previous day's open. Your open is up here somewhere because you're red on the day. Here is the open. So it's a very small range day, right? Very small range day. Here's your daily open. There's your previous day's open. So you set in a high of day. Now you've made a new low of day and you're attacking today's low, which is right there. So I would potentially look for entries around those two levels. If the float gets locked up during this, whatever it is, I have no idea what's going on, guys. I don't pay much attention to the fundamentals of anything. I'm a price action analyst, so yeah, we'll see. But I do know that they're having some kind of something, and basically it could trade just like Kusama. It's doing the same thing, but we will see. It's been bullish for multiple days, but it's not really gone anywhere. So some people are going to look at this as a bull flag, and I'd say you can still kind of look at it like that. This being your pull, this being your flag, but I don't know. We'll see. Daily support is all the way down to 51.82. So let's take this and put it there. That would be a probably the better buy if it were to get down there. But you shall see if it does. This is daily supply, and this is what the problem is. This is why it's consolidating. Here's daily supply. You did get a bullish break and close above supply, which is beautiful. So yeah, I would be looking for bullish entries soon. I like these two areas. And I would only be targeting this high. That's where I'd take off the majority of my leverage and move my stop to break even and then let it ride. Because if it starts to go, it can go for days. In my sleep last night? Yeah, I did. I sleep just fine when stuff's going off. If you got a chance once, would you quick look at FTM USDT? Yeah, let's go look at it. Phantom. It's trying to make new highs. I don't know. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, I mean, it's trading at all-time highs. Let me go back over to KuCoin because KuCoin is the platform that I do my trading on. Support held right at resistance. Price is trading into resistance right here, right? Then you get a test of support. Next day, took 2 days to happen, but boom, there it went. Boom. So, yeah, and it found support again. Where did it find support? Well, at support. Support is your daily bearish closes. Support, 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 support. And it didn't even close below. Well, that was your bear trap, I guess. Because it did close below the last bearish candles. Even that one. So it's a tiny little trap. And look what happened. People thought they were going to see continuation. Came down, found real support, being this one. And then blasted off for the next 3 days was bullish. Traps exist. This looks like a pullback candle. You're testing the midpoint of this bullish candle. There's your midpoint, the yellow line. That's your 50% retracement. That's 50% of this daily's range. Alright, so let's go into the intraday charts. I don't like the intraday charts. That's nasty there. But you did put in a low. And you are bouncing from it. So this would be my advice on this one. And I will keep it on watch today. You get an hourly close below $3.04. You're scrapping the trade. Right? There's the level at which you want to see this thing rock and roll from. It didn't quite test it here. But it could. This is looking not very good though. I can tell you that. I don't like this. This is a bearish reaction. That's an outside range candle, aka engulfing. And then you got follow through. So this could be a pullback from that. I know people are going to short it because people love to pick highs. This is not an area to short. Right? The daily looks fantastic. So I would watch this area and then obviously the close, because the close is the support. The open is the demand. So if it's extremely bullish, you would get a tick of that level and then boom, move to the upside. If it's more weak, then you'll probably fade below it. If you get an hourly close below this hourly candle though, there's a good chance you're coming all the way down to 295, this last swing high. And that's a pretty good size area of space. That might need to be filled in before price goes to the upside. Some would call that an inefficiency, but we don't trade inefficiencies around here because most of the time they're already filled. I would keep an eye on these two levels right there, 304 and 302 for potential bullish entries, targeting that high right there. That would be where my profit objective would be. Let's see here. Good morning from Scotland, says Old Rope 63. Scotland's a beautiful country, my friend. Good morning, good mornings. Lots of good mornings. Great psychological, emotional insight, Heath. Thank you, Danny. Good morning, Heath. What time frame did you enter CAD yen on the hourly? I will look at 5-minute charts, guys. But let's go back to it. The problem with looking at 5-minute charts is you'll get a lot of this. Whereas if you look at your hourly candles, it'll show you what's really transpiring. That's not even where I entered. Oh, it's up here. So let's see what the 5-minute looked like coming into that area. Let's see what it looked like. But I like looking at hourlies. You can watch the 5-minute charts if you want. I've actually honed this strategy in using 5-minute Heath levels and, well, supply and demand zones inside of a 5-minute chart. It's just I have enough experience now to where I can just watch hourlies. I'm not in a hurry, right? I never get in a hurry to do anything. Rushing is a killer in this business. You can't rush anything. Yeah, beautiful. That's hourly resistance. Or what was it? Yeah, it was hourly res. See, the 5-minute looks like you got to break above resistance. But if you go out to the hourly, you'll see that it's just a wick above, but you closed below. Wick above, closed below. Wick above, closed below. Boom, right? Where on the 5-minute, you can't see that. You can't see that wick above, close below. Wick above, close below, wick above, close below, wick above, boom. You can see this chop nonsense. It's just so much easier when you're looking out, right? Looking at a further perspective. But absolutely, this would have been my entry. This candle here. This would have been my entry. Boom, right there. So as soon as we traded up into that right there, that would have been entry. Boom. And once watching the 5-minute chart, we get to close below this 5-minute structure. I'm golden. Because if price is going to remain bullish from this bounce from hourly demand, you will not or should not get closes below that. Boom. That's when I knew I was golden. Right? That's when I knew I was golden. Remember, this was my target. Or low of day, sorry. Down here. But yeah, it was nice. It was a fantastic trade. But if you learn how to look at hourly candles, guys, your life will get so much easier. So much easier because we're waiting on hourly closes anyway. Right? Just because you got to break above resistance doesn't mean it's going to go higher. We got to wait on the close. The close is what counts. Boom. Down. So yeah, it was a beautiful trade. Boom. Target hit. And look how it closed above that level. It's just, price is so awesome in the way that it moves. It's just, I can see it so good. I love it. Good morning, great analysis. Thank you, Daga. Or Daga. Ray H. Good morning, good morning. Trade Talk. Did you take your entry? Oh, sorry, I read that. But you were asking the same question as Marie. How do you enter? Did you enter when the 1 hour candle flipped bearish? No, I entered on the tack of the low, right? If you wait, sometimes it's best to wait for bearish reactions. But this is the thing. I knew I was looking for shorts, and the simple reason for that is because the weekly order flow was bearish, right? This thing is, every pop is being sold into. This was the only time where you got a higher pop, and that was even sold into. Boom. Set Friday's low, came up, and set intraday resistance right there. So at that point in time, I was already bearish. So I was willing to risk 10 pips on the trade. So I entered as soon as this price hit my level. I hit market sell. Boom. And situated my risk, which was 1% of the total account's equity, at 10 pips with a stop of 10 pips. That means that it's using a massive position size, right? But I'm only risking 1% of the account. And you can see here that if I'm risking up to this wick, that was like a 3 to 1, 3.5 to 1. Before I even took profits, I'm up like 3.5% on the day. And it's a fantastic place to be. That's how everybody needs to learn how to trade. Don't worry about what comes later. What comes later is just cherries on top of the cake. But yeah, I would suggest that you could wait or watch for bearishness on like the 5 minute, because that's a bearish reaction, right? You've got your your level situated. You definitely want to see something. You don't have to enter here. You can enter on a pullback of the 5 minute. You probably wouldn't have got an entry if you did that though, because this 5 minute, this is your last 5 minute close or your last swing high. Price is fractal, so what it does on an hourly, daily, monthly, it does on a 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute. Here's 5 minute resistance. And see that for 15 minutes, it was 5 minute resistance. Then you trade down to what? Demand, tacked it, and beautiful expansion to the upside. This is when you hit the level you're watching. So if you take entry as soon as it touches the level, just understand that that's aggressive. It is. And you don't know. It could keep going, right? It can always keep going. We never know what's going to happen. But I took entry right there, and I was willing to risk that stop. Then this happens. Boom. Bearish reaction. It's not a big one. Not as big as I wanted to see. But it does show that I'm not the only one that's watching that level. Price trades away from it. This would have been your only chance to enter, and you would have had to base your entry on the 5 minute resistance here. Okay? I don't know if this is making any sense. So this is your last 5 minute close. This is the first time that it closes above. Notice how this candle is almost, like if I put a line there, this is like the expansion is almost dead center of this level. Well, that's a legit break above resistance. Right? And it happens on a 5 minute too. Boom. So this trades back up into it. You didn't get all the way up into it, but that's about where you'd want to enter. I understand that this is hindsight, but I took the entry yesterday. I'm still in the trade. I didn't take it on hindsight. I'm trying to teach in hindsight. But you can look for the bearish reaction on the 5 minute and then look for a pullback and know that you want to enter on the pullback, risking above the swing high on the 5 minute. That's a little bit more conservative. Obviously, you're going to miss out on a few pips, but it's not a lot, right? That might be 10 pips. And that's not. It's 6. 6 pips from there to there. Now, your spread is going to be whatever your spread is, 1.5 pips. So if you took entry there, your real entry would probably be about here. Even if you top ticked it, right? If you get the very top tick and hit sell, the spread's going to put you in lower, right around there. And in hindsight, we know that this thing ran. It just kept running, right? That's a fantastic trade. So yeah, I take the entries. Most of the time, I take the entries right when my levels is hit. Or if I'm not, then I wait for, if I'm not like, how do I say it? If I don't have that much conviction about the trade, then I wait for a bearish reaction. And sometimes that causes me to miss the trade. And I'm okay with that too. But on this trade, I had 100% conviction. It was as easy as snapping my fingers. As soon as I seen it, it was the first thing I said in the morning to my Discord was CAD Yen's my favorite trade on the day. I could show you if you want. And then I said I also like Euro Aussie and USD JPY. But this was my favorite one. I woke up and I seen that and I was like, yep, this is it. This is the trade I'm taking. And that's generally how it works for me. I'll know right away if I like the trade or not. And I loved it. I loved it. D-Berry says smash the like button. Yes, if you guys would, that would be fantastic. What happens first? BT becomes a $2 trillion? $2 trillion, guys? We haven't even hit... Oh, yeah, we did hit $1 trillion. I could see $2 trillion. It's a double the size right now. Right? $2 trillion market cap. It's crazy. Or does ETH become a $1 trillion market cap? Also, could you check Link USD? Thanks. It's hard to say, guys. I mean, that's just wild conjecture, speculation, if I even answered that question. I have no idea. I know Bitcoin's trading at around $1 trillion market cap right now, so it'd have to double to hit 2. That'd be a 2x. I'm not sure where ETH is trading as far as the billions. I haven't done the math. I know it's in billions, though. Oh, you said what? Sorry. Link USD. Stinky Linky. Let's check it out. Let's get off this intraday. It's bullish today, I can tell you that. Very bullish. You're into daily res. This was the place where I would be looking for shorts. That day it worked here. That's a bearish reaction from a daily supply zone. Boom, boom. However, there was no follow through, right? So I think if this thing gets above this swing high, it's going to rip because so many people are stuck. This was a beautiful place to get short. And then here was another one. And it did work out. But now you're back above everybody's entries. So price is just climbing and climbing and digging and digging. This thing's going to rip. It looks like it's going to rip. Once it gets above that swing high, man, look out. So ETH hasn't even tested that daily supply yet. That was put in once when this, I think this thing had like a 60% correction. 71% correction. Jesus. That's volatility. So yeah, I'd say once you get above this, you're going to rip. It already looks like it's going to go. It's trading right at daily res. Here's daily resistance. You can see that you tested it yesterday, but the bulls loaded up. This thing had a very small pullback. Yeah, I mean, it might hold support here. Or a little lower. This looks fantastic. Fantastic. It looks like it's going to rip again. Look, I mean, 34.66. That's where I'd want to see it stop going lower. That's where I'd want to see support. No lower than that. Because if you get lower than that, then this is a false break. Right now, since price is here, all of this is just a wick on the daily, if that makes sense. Right? This is all just a wick on the daily. So basically it needs to hold support pretty soon. But you got all day. I mean, you could get a massive bearish candle because crypto's crazy. I mean, sometimes it's difficult. Like this stuff right here, right? Looking for continuation here. Lower high, and then boom. Like, that hurt anybody that got long there. Then for a day or so, you traded lower, and then boom. Took out all these people. It's the market just continually moves back and forth, taking out old swing highs and old swing lows, liquidating everybody all over the place. And that's all it does. Once it's liquidated enough people or has enough liquidity to move, then you will see a repricing or an expansion. It'll run away from the area, looking for the next liquidity pools, I guess, is the fashionable word to use today. But yeah, it looks bullish. I want to see it hold support. If it's going to continue its breakout, it looks like it is trying to break out. This is what you want to see, and you're testing daily res. I mean, within a day or so, you're going to be trading above $39 probably. If it continues, this looks good, especially since you had this nasty bearish day. That right there caught a lot of people short. I would have, you know what I mean? I would have been looking to short this for continuation to the downside. And you can see what's happened. Shorts are wrong, so blowing out. It's going to blow it out. That's what I would expect. Something like this. Boom, boom. Just be careful. Manage your risk, guys. It's about your risk. It's not about how good you can analyze price, because trust me, I lose trades all the time. It's about how good you can manage your risk. That is the secret to becoming a professional trader. How much money are you risking? You gotta keep it controllable. A very small amount of your overall equity. If you blow your account up, then you cannot trade. It's about consistency and maintaining that money. You can't lose it. Trade with small risk. Where was I? I think log is on. Yeah, it is. Oh goodness, I'm way up there. Sorry guys. I generally do the questions first come first serve. Heath, can you look at LTC and True, Litecoin and True? Let's look at LTC first. I'll just use Coinbase's data because Litecoin's broken out. That's what I want to see on what we just looked at, right? That's what you want to see happen on Stinky Linky. Big, strong breakout. So you're coming in to test this right now, basically, on Link. So hopefully it finds support there and looks like this later on today. That's a massive move. Litecoin's looking okay. I don't really like Litecoin all that much. And it's just because Litecoin's one of the only assets in the whole crypto sphere that didn't make new all-time highs yet. Right? There's your old all-time high. You didn't even make a new all-time high this year. So, it was moving and it did go up like hundreds of percents. Yes, this is March 2020. Yeah, you went up over 1,000%. So, yeah, it was bullish. And it's bullish now, today and yesterday. So it did the same thing, right? It set in this as a trap. This is a trap. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Put in those big bearish days. Show rejection at resistance. Daily supply. There. Right there. Rejection at there. Trade down. Set support. Come up. And then boom. So on this pullback, people are looking to get short. Right? And now they're stuck. As soon as this daily occurred, anybody that got short on this wick is stuck. So when you trade up into this daily's resistance or this close, whoever got short on this day now, they're starting to sweat. They're like, wait a minute. This thing, I thought it was going lower. And then here is the liquidator. The liquidator comes in and takes both of those shorts out. The market sets people up to fail. There's no doubt about it. But you can learn how to trade here for sure. For free. Liquidator. The liquidator strikes again. Next one. Boom. So now you've taken out people that got short here. So I would look for it to continue all the way up to at least 281.75. That's where your next area of possible supply is. So that's where I would be expecting resistance. There are a couple old areas here and here that could potentially act as support or as resistance as well. Simply because this massive liquidation candle didn't even pause at either one of these resistance or support levels. So there's a chance that, it could act as resistance. Okay? So look, that's what this looks like. And you can see it's already into this one. So there's your three potential resistance areas for Litecoin. 255.51, 269.10, and 281.60 is supply. Right there. That's where I would look to exit my position. Unless you're hodling this, expecting it to go to 1 million. You know what I mean? I don't know what your investment goals are, but it's bullish for this week. It's definitely got a nice looking weekly. Volume still seems kind of low. Hopefully picks up for the next few sessions. Generally in bull markets, volume is low, right? Generally in low volume times, your markets will trend to the upside. That's always a good thing for bullishness, is low volume. If you don't believe me, go look at S&P 500 and all the other markets. Their volume usually trends down as price goes up. Then when you see big volume bars, that's generally where you find your tops or your near-term tops. And then true, and that'll have to be the last one as it's 6:30, and this is generally when I like to close down the stream so I can look for entries. USD, is it on Coinbase? It is. It's new on Coinbase. It's in the daily resistance, but it's holding support. So you're in the middle of a range, and it's a tight range. Here is support. So if you're looking for bullish entries, you want to look as close to this old resistance here at 609 or here at 59. Yeah. Basically the way I would do it is if it trades down, I would wait for price to come back up and close above it, or at least get above it and hold on a 4-hour closing basis. And I could put an entry in like that and use the wick as a stop. But, you know, the next 4-hour session may go down and stop you out. Nobody ever knows what's going to happen when they enter positions. But the whole thing is to buy low and sell high. So this is low, or this is potentially low. This is high. That's resistance. So you don't want to buy it into resistance. You want to buy it as close to support. And this is a daily Heath level as well. So in the smaller time frame, that's going to be demand. Hourly support is 618.59966. This bearish candle's close. That's going to be hourly support. This looks like a rejection coming off of resistance. So be careful. Can it find support? Absolutely. This is daily support down here. Hourly close below that, then you're probably coming down here. It doesn't look great on the hourly, but it does look okay on the on the daily. It's a tight range. It's definitely in a tight range, but you can see the support, right? If this is going to continue up, I don't see it coming back down to here. But if it does, that's another potential buy zone. If you're looking for bullish entries, I have no idea what this is, and I've never traded it. So, all right, guys, with that, I must end the stream. If you have any questions, like I said, or like I always say, feel free to drop them in the comments section once YouTube's done processing the live stream. I try to answer every question. Sometimes I will miss them because YouTube doesn't post them all, but generally I find them later anyway. So just post them down there. I will answer your question. Don't forget to smash the like button. As always, that helps. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and happy trading, everybody.